Hello, my most amazing artists. Today we're going to start a new project. We are going to be creating a pumpkin still life using just our primary colors. So primary colors are red, yellow, and blue. And obviously pumpkins are orange, so we are not going to be using orange paint. We're going to paint our pumpkins next week. But to start, I want you to fold your paper in half. You can do it either way. You can fold it vertically or horizontally. Fold it in half. Then you'll start by drawing a pumpkin with your pencil. So I like to start with an oval. Draw it pretty big because when you paint this, it's going to be a lot easier if you draw big. Then I like to do a forward C, a backward C, and one more, a forward C, a backward C. So I drew that pretty big. I'm going to draw a stem. And I can go from here to the stem and create the back part of the pumpkin to make it look three-dimensional. When I do these C's, I start at the top and I go all the way to the bottom. I'm going to show you on the back. A lot of kids will do this. And that doesn't look right. So you need to start at the top and go to the bottom. Start at the top, go to the bottom. Okay. So once I finish with this, I'm going to trace that folded line with my pencil, just like that. I'm also going to draw a shadow. So I can have my shadow go off to the edge and go to the edge, one side to the other. Okay. So again, your shadow, let's say this is my pumpkin. Your shadow wouldn't be like this. It would go from one edge to the other edge. That's how a shadow works. All right, so now I'm ready to paint. Now I'm going to paint the top half of mine either green or purple, and the bottom half will be the other color. So I'm going to take my paintbrush. This paint is liquid tempera paint. So it's liquid, meaning it already has water in it. So we do not need water for this project. We just have it to rinse out our brush. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to have to work quickly. I think I'm going to do purple in the bottom. But I'm going to paint some sections. And the paint has to stay wet. Now this paint dries pretty quickly. So I'm going to get most of the paint off of my brush. This is really important. See how it's becoming scratchy? I'm going to get most of the paint off of my brush. And then I will add the color that makes purple. So blue and red makes purple. I'm not rinsing my brush out because look, there's not a lot of paint on my brush, so it's not going to get into the blue. All right, and now I'm just going to mix that. So just mix the blue into the red. When you need a little bit more red, get a little bit more red. When you need a little bit more blue, get a little bit more blue. Be sure that you are wiping most of the paint off of your brush onto your paper before you dip your paintbrush into the other color. That will help you to keep the paints clean. When you work on the shadow, I would start with blue first, whether you're doing green or purple. Start with blue because it's the darker color, and then add a little bit of red. Try to make your shadow darker than the background. Oh, I do need to rinse out my brush because I'm going to try to paint green up here, and I am finished with the purple, so I need to rinse that off of my brush. So I like to scrub the brush at the bottom of the water container. Okay, I can still see blue paint on there, so I need to rinse it better. So really scrub it, but try not to splash water everywhere. All right, when you're done, you can wipe your brush on the edge of the container and then dry it off because we do not want our brush wet. So I want to dry my brush off really good. Now for green, I'm gonna need blue and yellow. So you notice, even though I was dipping my brush in here and I wasn't washing out my brush, this paint is not dirty because I was brushing most of the paint off on my paper. So that's really important. You don't wanna scoop this paint out. You want to just get a little bit. Okay, your paint should not go up here on this metal part. So same thing, we are going to start in one section. You'll paint the top half the same way. Start with one color and then get the other color and blend it in. You don't need to rinse off your brush, just wipe off most of the paint onto your paper before getting a different color. And I'm pretty much done for today. Now, if you want your green to be the same, you would just add a little bit more blue. But there was enough blue on my brush still that I got a yellow-green when I painted with just yellow over here. So that's why we're not rinsing out our brush, so that our colors can mix. Okay, when you're done with this part, you can put it on the drying rack. Before you go to the carpet for stations, be sure that your brush is rinsed out really, really, really well. So really scrub it on the bottom. If you are the last person using the water, rinse your water bucket out. Place your brush on the towel. Then take the water bucket to the sink, rinse it out, get clean water. Be sure that the tops are placed back on these. You can't press super hard. You just kind of have to press with your finger and go around. If you press down with your hand, the cup will collapse. Remember, you should put 4 pieces on the drying rack. Don't forget that. That helps me to get everybody's stuff on the drying rack each day when I have 10 classes and I have 200 people using the drying rack. So use it wisely and put 4 pieces on there.